I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco, and this is episode 20. We're talking about how to balance struggle versus solution. Let me just give you some information on what the show's about. It's a hybrid of topics under the subjects of mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. It's dedicated to all the voiceless women of the world. May your voice be heard. This show was born out of the DonnaGentileStory.com, A Woman Who Was Silenced. It's a true crime book I wrote. You'll have to read about it on Amazon. And who won it and fought for her voice. So I dedicated this program to her. And also I have another book called Live Free. And if I can be reached at TantraWisdom.com. I'm a Tantra teacher, psychotherapist, love and relationship coach. Let's get on with our topic. Now, what do I mean about letting go of the struggle? Well, basically, we need struggle in life because we persevere, we want to become better, we want to master things, and we need to have that struggle. It will always be there. But the struggle I'm talking about is the struggle of your dreams and the conversations that you have with people every day. For example, you're telling your friend you want to fix up a house that you have, and of course, she knows you don't have the money or you don't have the money. And they put this lid on it like, well, that's going to cost you a lot. That'll never happen. You'll never be able to do that. So it's about being around positive people. So when people put that lid or that negative spin on your thoughts, your dreams, your desires, what happens then is that the struggle, you start to think in terms of struggle. Well, if I want to do this, fix that house, it's going to be a struggle because it'll cost. But if you just go into things and let the universe take care of whatever it is that your dreams are, just be present with them and aware and fluid, spontaneous, that the struggle will not be so bad. Even if it is that you can't, say, for example, get the money to fix that house. So this is what I mean about the struggle, is to the struggle on the dreams and hanging out with negative people. So also another way that people struggle is aging. They become a year older and they're struggling with it. They're struggling with it before they become that age. And it puts a damper on your psychological being. It puts a damper on your positive life, on your pleasurable, sensual self. So letting go of, to begin, is that what I think is positive and know that anything is possible. And that's what we mean by solution. Anything is possible. You don't have to have high standards or reach for the moon, but whatever the issue is, the situation, in that moment, in that time, there is a resiliency that we learn to harness. And in that moment, in that time, is when we come together with our self, with the relationship to the self, and we create the solution. And the solution doesn't have to be high standards. It can just be what it is, being authentic. So what is struggle? Struggle is an attitude. It's an attitude of hate. It's an attitude of negativity. And people relish in that. They connect to that, and they become the pattern of struggle. They become the pattern of negativity. Taking responsibility. Now, when you let external conditions control your destiny, you surrender your power to authority. So one of the first steps into learning how to be more positive with yourself is to take control of your life. Stop allowing others to be in charge of you, your identity, your self-identity. When you allow others to be in charge of you, you are staying stuck. You're staying in that stuck place, that frozen place, that place that you couldn't find a way out. But we're here to tell you that once you open up to your awareness, taking charge of your own life, you will see the difference. You're listening to It's Your Voice. Letting go and delete the struggle for positive power. So that's how you attain positive power, by letting go. Just allowing things to be there. Stop putting that pressure on yourself. Getting clear on what it is that you want instead of what you don't want. So, and even in relationships, there's a struggle. People date one person, then they want to date others, and they don't really know what they want. And it's a lot of emotional struggle that goes on in relationships, especially where there's, betrayal going on and promises and exclusivity and all kinds of things that can happen in a relationship. But if you use a process of elimination in anything that you choose in life, your career, where you're going to live, and even your relationships, you can have less, making it simple is what I'm saying, keeping it simple. The struggle doesn't have to be there. But we create it, we cause this struggle because we're so burdened with shame and hiding and negativity that this is a conditioned behavior that we need to learn to walk out of it, get rid of it. So it takes some work, and you might need some love and relationship counseling, coaching, psychotherapy. There's many avenues to help yourself with this. Now, I'm the type of person that I choose things that are more fun and over, say, money or success. I mean, yes, money and success are there and we need it, but if you have something positive to work with, so reflect back on your life, even if you come from a negative foundation, a negative pulp, and there wasn't much love there, or the kids at school didn't like you, there was one part of your life where something was positive. And if you can go in and grasp that and get a hold of that and start to bloom from that point on. Projecting your beliefs onto another is called transference. So when you project your negative beliefs, for example, when your parents, sometimes they think you're not making the best use of your talents, and so they harass you over and over. I want you to be this. I want you to be that. I want you to grow up to be this. And they feel you may not be making the best of yourself, and that can cause a struggle on them and you. And that relationship to space, that sacredness, that divinity, that place where you move around, where the chaos exists, where the dance exists, where you can find the center, becomes shattered. So there's no place to go except in. And then what happens when you turn it in? It becomes isolation. It becomes pain. It becomes shame and hiding. So once we turn all of that in, that's the transference, because it's a projection. So if you have dreams and desires and you think that who you express them to may not accept them, don't tell them what you're doing. Have this boundary where you only exclaim to friends and people that are supportive of whatever it is that you're doing. Again, if you continually look for the love from others, and by throwing the dice at them and sharing all of your dreams and thoughts and desires, they're going to constantly put the lid on you, and you're only trying to find the love. So there we go. We have to come back to self-love. And this becomes a pattern, and we chase after it over time. So asking yourself first what you believe before asking anyone else what they think. For example, you're watching a news bit, or you attended a show and you had an opinion about it. Now, I had a TV talk show in Los Angeles a while back for 5 years called Anita's Point of View. And I would always have my own point of view and then bring guests on and then compare my point of view with theirs. But I always made sure that I took charge and held on to my power, my thoughts, and I became my own identity, and I owned it. I owned my thoughts. So asking yourself first, you have to have this relationship with yourself in order to succeed in the relationship to life, in order to succeed in the relationship to solution. Okay, on that note, let's take a breath here. You're listening to It's Your Voice. Anita DeFrancesco here with you. Episode 20 we're on. Practice being and owning your opinions, just like I said, without worrying about what people think. Now, when we worry what people think, because they're going to judge us, belittle us, condescend us, attack us, reject us, that there alone, that those thoughts alone, and even their actions are all a struggle. And so we are taking on the transference of other people's struggle because they don't believe in themselves. They don't believe that they can be poor and fix up a house. And you know what? The universe just comes out and grabs you if you're manifesting positive thoughts. That's the way it works. It's just like a will, there's a way, and it happens. So I'm tired of these people being negative, because how do you think people become what they are? It's like miracles happen. You have to believe. So some people don't believe in things. They don't believe that, broccoli is good for you, or string beans are going to be really good nutritional value to the body. But guess what? Start believing is number one. Start believing in anything. Just believe. Believe that sage, using that incense of sage will smudge out the negative energies in your home. Well, you may not believe that. It may sound, weird or odd to some people, but you know what? Start believing. Not necessarily in that, but just in anything. Hanging with happy people, being selective, choosing the loving people that are supportive, people that hang out with people that celebrate you rather than tolerate you. Now, sometimes your family members will tolerate you because there's so much hate and negativity. I believe that families all should be in psychotherapy, group psychotherapy as a family unit from time to time, because families tend to take on so much struggle with each other, so much responsibility. Taking charge of your own life, even if it means leaving those miserable friends behind, because the growth can only give you happiness. And when the happiness is there, when you start to dive into that happiness living in your body, you start to let go of the limitations and the resistance, and your life and your world open up bigger. And they open up to a bigger, expansive place where you can explore and dance. And this is where you become the success of life. Not necessarily wealthy in money, but the wealth begins with the connection and the relationship to life. And then whatever you're supposed to have will just start to find its way to you. So again, this will help you to let go of the resistance. Making a list, I suggest, of the things that you can now, having change that you want to change. First of all, change and adapting and adjusting to new environments, new states, new jobs, new relationships. That can be so much of a struggle for people. And it's all about unlocking and exploring your own self-discovery when you make change in life. And that's what it's there for, to unlock and explore the new self-discovery. But if change becomes a struggle for you, what I suggest is to make a list of the things in your life that you've changed, or you need to change, or that you would like to change. But start small. Like the first thing you want to do is perhaps clean your bedroom, or clean out those rooms where you have things that you've built up for years of papers and things from childhood. That will be a beginning, because that clutter keeps you locked down. Once you clear out the clutter, there's what I call a clarity within clutter. And now you're going to be able to smell and breathe the fresh air of the newness. Again, the new self-discovery, exploring. Losing those extra pounds and finding a sport of some sort, such as yoga, but not necessarily yoga, that can help you discipline yourself. You could maybe feed the homeless once a week, and that's a good practice to learn how to be disciplined, to open up that part of yourself that's dedication, devotional. And that helps you in relationships, in school, in staying connected. Say you enroll in college and then you find yourself quitting. You need to have that devotional, dedicated, disciplined part of your inner being. You have to embody that somewhere along the line, so that you learn how to continue on without starting and stopping, because the struggle comes in the starting and stopping. But when you have flow and you know what you want, and you use the process of elimination, then you can flow, and the struggle, there will be no struggle. Monitoring your thoughts and actions daily. So it means speaking positive to yourself, letting go of the head chatter that says, I can't, I won't, I'm nothing, no one likes me. that kind of stuff, over time becomes a struggle to the whole entire body. And then you get old and you get disease and you have this heaviness that you carry around with you. It's a mental, emotional heaviness. And the emotional threshold cannot find, you're already at an emotional threshold and it needs to find its way out. So how do you deal with that? How do you work with that? When your emotions are running so deep and you don't even know it because they're so blocked and they're so suppressed with not only hate, but they're suppressed with those thoughts that keep burying themselves underneath it all. So again, it's your voice, right? Let's open that voice out. Stop blaming, changing the thoughts. Stop the ruminating when you can consistently repeat thoughts over and over in your head. So it's all about patterns, but you need to do the work. And I do the orgonomy somatic body psychotherapy as developed by Dr. Wilhelm Reich. And we can work with you. You can DM me and into opening up to this place of undoing layers. But we have to write them all down and do one at a time. Mind over matter. And once you have this mind over matter, you're opening up and unlocking, again, exploring that creative side, this higher power. And you will find the ways to express yourself. You will absolutely find those ways. Now, once you do, you can open up to anything because then anything is possible. And that's where solution comes in. Anything is possible. Sometimes we find ourselves acting on our worst impulses, but sometimes that's a struggle and we need to do that. We need to act on the worst impulse so that we can reverse that or learn from that. So learning from your mistakes, and again, mistakes are not a weakness. Mistakes and falling and picking yourself up and people making fun of you, ridiculing you, they can do all of that, but you are your own best friend, and you need to learn in this way. It is the only way we learn from our mistakes, so it's not a weakness. And of course, boundaries are necessary, and once you learn how to create those healthy boundaries, you can have a solution for anything. Remember, we're not reaching for high standards. We're just reaching for comfort, a comfort zone, a contentment. Whatever the situation is, there is a solution. Your neighbor is harassing you. They're putting their trash on your pavement. You can't get them to stop. So now you live in anger and struggle. And what do? You're arguing with them every day to take their trash off of your pavement. And they don't seem to comply. But there is a solution there. You'll find it. You have to find different ways, talking with them or creating a whole nother area where people can put their trash. I mean, there is a solution. It can be done. What people tend to do is they tend to want to go back and forth in this push and pull argumentative way, back and forth, push pull, and stay in struggle. And it's addictive. It's addictive to the senses. It's addictive to the nervous system. Arguing is very addictive. So success is a result of following certain patterns. We gain emotional strength from the things that we do in life, the experiences that we are exposed to. We gain this certain emotional strength that we can fall back on. It's a place where we have been, and taking a look at where we have come. So happiness, fulfillment, like I said, nurturing your relationships, giving back to people out there that may not be as successful as you. So nurturing your relationships. Overcoming the struggles can become easy once you adapt these patterns of successful people. And I don't mean people that are successful in the sense of money or career, but that, yes, is a very big part of it. But let's look at the small part of success. How did they get successful? Because they had emotional strength. They had spiritual liberation. They were able to have an open mind and loop around different edges. And this is really what it's about, this whole thing with struggle versus solution is about finding the success within the way the people's emotions are living, the way they share their emotions with their own self, how that relationship to the self exists. So how do their emotions navigate? And so this is the success where you want to come to and have these types of new loving patterns that form in your body that shape your newness. Now, never give up on being mindful. Mindful is the key to success. Struggling is critical to mastery. Children need to struggle. Mistakes are helpful for growth. And sometimes, this challenge, and this is where we learn how to be challenged. We need challenge. We need that edge, right? You're going to run the race today. You want to have the challenge. You don't want to just get in it and have no challenge. Well, the same thing exists in relationships. There's always that push and pull, the challenge. The woman plays hard to get, and the man, he's the hunter and he gets her, and all of that. There's always this thing, but there's a spiritual struggle that I would like you to tap into, and that spiritual struggle involves being in a fluid state in a higher power. So on this note, I'm going to leave you with that. Struggling is mastery. Thank you for tuning in. But it is mastery, but it doesn't have to crush your dreams. Thank you for tuning in to It's Your Voice. I am your host, Anita DeFrancesco, episode 20. And we've been talking about how to balance struggle versus solution. The DonnaGentileStory.com, a book on Amazon, True Crime, you can find it there, and also TantraWisdom.com, and I have a book there, Live Free, and my work if you want to DM me for details.